Welcome back everybody to another Marvel Champions video. This is yet another new hero added to the evergreen roster of heroes for the living card game Marvel Champions. Right after the Mad Titan Shadow expansion. So we have Nebula. Now Nebula, fully enough, is a villain in the previous deluxe expansion, Galaxy's Most Wanted. And now we have her as a hero. And she does play quite similar to a villain counterpart. It's quite unique. So first of all, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please subscribe if you can. I appreciate that a lot. But let's go straight into the cards and an overview of what's in her pre-con deck and how she works. Then we'll go straight into a game against Ebony. So let's go through her cards straight away. So first of all, we have an alter ego side to her card here. So she has 3 recovery, 9 hit points, 6 hand size. So that low hit point and low recovery is quite a bit of a hindrance, so watch out for that. And now she has a ability here, a cybernetic upgrades response. After you play a technique upgrade, draw 2 cards, limit once per round. So much like her villainous counterpart, you're going to be focused on getting these technique cards out, playing them, and then at the start of your next turn, trigger them all off. And those special abilities like stun an enemy, deal damage, and so forth. Some will then also give her permanent boosts like extra attack and extra thought and stuff, and they are really handy. So you want to play Techniques Alter Ego form to draw cards. And you flip her over, you'll see here, so we have 2 thought, 2 attack, 2 defense, so very good even stats. And her ability, Counterpart Protocols, Force Response. So after your turn begins, resolve the special ability on each technique upgrade you control and discard each technique upgrade resolved this way. So the more you have out, the more what's going to happen. You're going to see them in a second when we go through the deck. They're very, very good, much like her villain form, they'll trigger and discarded. There are other cards that let you trigger the abilities anyway, without moving the card, which is pretty good too. So we'll go through her cards now. So that's basically what she does. You play techniques and trigger them at the start of your turn. So that's her card there. So we have her signature ally, Gamora. It's a really cool picture, a massive gun there. So she costs 3 hit points, 2 thought, 2 attack. By the way, she's a Guardian. Guardian this side, Outlaw this side. It's a Guardian ally. So response, after you play Gamora, choose a technique upgrade you control, then resolve its special ability. So like I say, one of those cards that help to resolve the special ability on technique cards. We also have her ship, a support for 2. Exhausted, generate a wild resource, so it's great here because it just says resource, doesn't say hero resource or alter ego resource, so you can use it any form. And a wild resource too, so play for anything. Next up we have 2 copies of Cutthroat Ambition, this one of her technique cards here. Upgrade for 1. While she's in hero form, her attacks gain piercing and overkill, so pretty good for minions and obviously tough status cards. Special, Thought, remove 3 threat from a scheme. So start your turn, you trigger this and remove 3 threat from a scheme. So they are very, very good. It's very cheap upgrades to have out. Next up we have 1 copy of Evasive Maneuvering. Upgrade for 1, technique again. I love the picture again here, it's really cool. So while in hero form, she ignores the guard keyword, the patrol keyword, and the crisis icon. So super handy for pesky schemes. And on special, choose to either stun or confuse an enemy, which is obviously super handy and super useful in a situation, especially in solo. So we have Unyielding Persistence, another technique, upgrade for 1. So while in hero form, she gains +1 floor, +1 attack, and gains Stalwart, so she can't be stunned or confused. And then, as a special, give her a tough status card. So that's a really good card. +1 to your stats, she can't be stunned or confused, and then not only that, but on your next turn, you get a tough status card. It basically buys you a bit more time, especially in solo again. So we have 2 copies of Weapon Master here, upgrade for 1, another technique card here. One hero form, which is Retaliate 1, really good, especially for minions and tough status cards. And special, deal 4 damage to an enemy. So it has got the attack in brackets, but 4 damage to any enemy for cost of 1 is super good. And lastly, this is the last technique I think now, so we have the Wide Stance technique. Same again, cost 1, super cheap. While in hero form, reduced amount of damage she takes from each attack by 1, so that'll help you sit that a little bit longer. A special, with top 3 cards in counter deck, discard 1, put those back in any order. This one is super handy and super useful. You can see particularly pesky treacheries coming up next, or boost icons coming up, and discard 1, change around a little bit. You can really adjust the game to your favour with this card. Okay, next up we have 2 copies of Combat Ready, Event for 0. So alter ego action. Choose 1. Shuffle up to 2 technique upgrades to discard pile into your deck, or discard cost up of your deck and so discard a technique upgrade, put it into play and resolve special ability. So like I say, one of those cards that should resolve special ability for free without actually discarding the card. So you can use technique, discard it, next turn, put us in play, and resolve special ability for 0. So for 0/2 it's really good. We happy all 3 go form to use it, unfortunately. And we also have 3 copies of her Lethal Intent, so it costs X. So hero action, choose to X technique upgrade your control and resolve each of the special abilities in the order of your choice. So if you've got, say, out 3 techniques upgrades, you could pay 3, you could pay 2, and resolve each one if you wish. So it's really good if you keep them out for longer. Unfortunately, as a force response, they are going to trigger at the start of your turn. So she's a Justice character, so onto her Justice cards now. So we have a Guardian ally here, Eros. Costs 2 hit points, 2 thought, 1 attack. Guardian responds if you play Eros from your hand, confuse a minion for each mental resource you use to pay for him. So if you use 2 mental resources, you can confuse 2 minions. Next up, we have Wraith. So Wraith's a pretty interesting minion here. Guardian costs 3 hit points, 1 thought, 3 attack, but does 2 damage to yourself. But what I like about this guy is Hero Interrupt. When a boost card is turned face up, exhaust Wraith and do 1 damage to him. Cancel that card's boost effect. So any particularly nasty boost effects, like discard a card or put a minion to play or status card, this will cancel that card. So it's a very, very good card to have out as a defensive backbone of your deck. And we have the ally version of Venom here. So this is a Guardian character, cost 4 hit points, 2 thought, 3 attack, quite a big chunky ally. But while there's no threat to the main scheme, reduce all consequential damage Venom takes by 1. So if the main scheme has 0 threat on it, he'll only do 1 damage to himself but attack for 3. So if you keep the threat on the main scheme really low, he's a super powerful ally you can have out. So we have next we have 3 copies of Justice here. This is a pretty good card. Upgrade for 1. Max 1 per player, any player's control. A hero response. After you thought and remove the last threat from a scheme, discard Justice served, ready your hero. So it's such a great card because if you're a side scheme out, even the main scheme, and you manage to just thought and finish it off, you can discard this, ready your hero, then you can thought again or attack or something. It's a very, very good card to have out in a Justice build. And next up we have an interesting card here. So this is One Way or Another. So event for 0, max 1 per round. Hero action, search the encounter deck for a side scheme, reel that side scheme, and then draw 3 cards and then shuffle the deck. So unfortunately you do get a side scheme, but if it costs 0, I get to draw 3 cards, I get to choose a side scheme. So the side scheme is not too tough or not too irritating. You can find it, draw cards. You can then use a Justice Serve to thwart it and get it ready a hero again to get a benefit. For drawing 3 cards for 0, you know, it's such good value in a card. Another one of these weird resource cards we saw in Adam Warlock's deck. So this is a resource card, wild resource. After you spend this card, remove 1 threat from the main scheme. So it's just a really cheap way of removing threat from the scheme without paying anything. 2 copies of Power Justice, to a resource, obviously handy in the Justice deck. And then we have 3 copies of Brains of Brawn, like the artwork again here, Spider-Man. And then for 2, attack, hero response. After your hero makes basic thought, deal damage to an enemy equal to your hero's thought. I mean, this card for me personally is okay. It's not too bad. If you've got a lot of thought, it's good. But if your thought's quite low, it's pretty useless, obviously. But it does go into play the next card, Her Intuition, to get your thought up by +1. Pump up your thought. Use the techniques as well to get a really high thought, and then use that card to actually damage to the villain. And lastly, her basic cards now. So we have everyone's favourite dog, Cosmo. Guardian ally, 2 costs, 1 thought, 1 attack, 2 hit points. Interrupt, when he attacks or thoughts, name a card type, discard the top card of your deck. If that card is the name type, so take consequential damage for this use. I mean, this is a sort of risky kind of card. I mean, I use this guy as a chump blocker, mostly. I don't like discarding the card mostly. He's just there to take up hits of damage. That's all I use him for. Not the best ally personally, but he's just there anyway because he's a Guardian character. We have Nowhere, unique support for 2. Play only if your character has the identity trait, so Guardian trait. Increase your ally limit by 1. If you play a Guardian ally, exhaust Nowhere and draw a card. So there's a lot of Guardian characters in this deck. You're probably very rarely going to increase your allies by more than 3. So you're very rarely going to get more than 3 allies. But to play an ally and draw a card is a great play-to-play, response. Next up is one of my favourite cards, the Daughter of Thanos card. I like the artwork there. Team up, Gamora and Nebula, so you have to have Gamora and Nebula out at the same time. But for 1, hero action, draw 3 cards. So going both out and this, super good card to have out. 2 copies of First Aid, because obviously her health is quite low, heal 2, we're going to need that to help heal her. And then each of the resource cards is a staple card in most decks. And that's it for her deck tech. We're going to move on to a game now against Ebony Moore. Okay, on to the Nebula gameplay. So this is Ebony Moore against Nebula, using the pre-con deck and his regular setup of 10 counter cards. So we have Attack on Nowhere on 1 threat. We've got a discard card so we get a spell, or straight away we got a spell. Never shuffle the deck because it's the first card. So this one, after it is resolved, we will have to discard a random card from our hand and be confused. Watch out for that. So we've got 14 hit points there, 9 on ourselves. He has 2 scheme, 1 attack. Activates with an invocation counter from each spell, and then when the last one is removed, they resolve. Let's draw up to 6 cards and see what we can do. So 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, so a lot of justice cards here. Let's get organised a little bit. So resource cards at the back. So we have 2 resource cards, strength and a double one there. And we have justice served, Nebula, ship, Eros, one way or another. So what I'm going to do is definitely first thing is get out the resource card first. Generate resources is essential. So I'm going to play strength to play Nebula's ship to help pay for certain costs. I'm then going to flip Nebula over. And then I'm going to play one way or another. Search counter deck for a side scheme, reveal it, and draw 3 cards. Let's find one that's not too bad. React to Overload. Take 2 damage or 2 threat there. Could get that one out. Black Order. Actually, Black Order. It's extra counter card Archon, but the only thing with that is if I had a Black Order minion out, I couldn't remove threat from it. But there's no Black Order minions, so it's literally just does nothing. But as extra counter cards. But it's going to go soon anyway, so there's a difference. So put 2 threat on there. Draw 3 cards. 1, 2, and 3. Another one of these cards, but I'm going to play 1 per round, so we're going to just use this and Genius to play for Gamora. Now, if I had technique upgrades in play, I could resolve them, but I don't, but I want more allies out. Then I'm going to play Power of Justice for Eros, 2 resource generated there, for 2 costs. If a minion's out, I could confuse them, but I haven't. And lastly, I'm going to use Nebula ship resource to play Justice Served. So when I remove threat from the scheme, last threat from the scheme Scurry, I can discard this and ready my hero. So this is going to be really good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to thwart for 2 on this. So this goes, which then lets me to trigger this, discard this as a hero response, ready Nebula. And then I can attack all out. So I'm going to attack with everybody. So 2, 4, 5 damage. Wow, it's a good first turn. Very, very good first turn. And I still haven't got any techniques out either. So for no techniques, it's a good first turn there is. Down to 9 already, and we've got 2 allies out and the ship. So techniques up next will be good. Let's see what we get. So ready up, end of my turn. So I read up on my cards, taking the damage. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so we have Brains Over Brawn. Not much use yet because there's no point with that. Combat ready, no techniques yet. So it's pretty pointless. I've got 1 technique here. Move threat from the scheme, but I don't need that yet. So no 1 threat in the scheme. I've got Wraith. I've got 2 more allies to place, so this should be good. I should be able to basically survive taking any damage for 2 turns. So onto the villain phase now. So of course we will put threat on the main scheme. Force interrupt. So because it's forced, this triggers first. This goes off there. He attacks. You know what? I'm going to take this because if he's only got 1 attack, it gives me a chance to attack back. So I'm going to take the damage. So 1, 2. Only 2 damage is fine. And the next counter card is Fireball. So this has Surge. So Surge means you draw another card. 4 counters on this one. When it resolves, I have to take 4 damage straight to Identity, which kind of sucks. Oh, and next we have this one here, Restrains. Attached to the friendly character with the highest attack and exhaust it. Attached character cannot ready. Spend 2 resources of this type and discard that card. So either Nebula or Gamora. I'll put it on Gamora. Exhausted, she can't ready, so she's restrained. Okay, that's pretty annoying. So my go now. So what do I want to do? So can't ready is pointless. I could get a technique out, I suppose, to show how they work. Yeah, let's do that. Actually, no, I can't because I need ultra ego action. So I'm thinking to get rid of this is pretty tough. I haven't got the I have got the resources. I'm going to attack for 2, getting down to 7. I'm going to flip her over. I'm going to thwart for 2 of him. last threat off there, because if he gets a particularly powerful boost card, that scheme might advance. And then I'm going to play Combat Ready, so discard cards top of your deck until you discard a technical upgrade, put into play, and result a special ability. So let's see what we get. So, energy, could have done with that. Cosmo, could have done with that. Technique. Special ability, so we put into play, resolve it, doesn't discard though, so choose to either stun or confuse an enemy. So since in alter ego form, I might as well confuse the character so he can't actually scheme, which is going really good. I didn't play a technique, I put it into place, doesn't trigger this unfortunately, but it does sit there. And then I'm going to spend 2 resources from Venom and Brains of Brawn as an alter ego action to discard this and get that gone. And then I'm going to lastly play another technique, Cutthroat Ambition. Gives me attacks, piercing and overkill, and special, it'll remove 3 threat from a scheme. Because I've played a technique upgrade, triggers this ability here, draws 2 cards, 1, 2. Awesome, so I could play another one hero form, retaliate 1. Special, deal 4 damage to an enemy. I could do that. Let's see, let's go nuts. Let's play, save this. Let's play Combat Ready again. Discard cost to your technical upgrade. So, let's see what we get. Another one. So this one's going to reduce all damage in hero form by 1. As a special, top 3 cards in counter deck, discard 1, put them back in any order. So another great card there. That's the end of our turn now. So we are still in this full. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to exhaust this to play the last technique. So 4 techniques in 1 round. That was a great turn. So end of my go, I'm going to ready up all these. I'm going to draw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Another technique card here. Same again. Look at the cards. First aid. Don't quite need that really. That could be handy to get extra thwarts. More threat from the main scheme, but isn't a problem. And I've got 2 copies of Lethal Intent. Wow, I can resolve all these. This is wow. This is going to be a fantastic turn. Next, just watch. Just keep watching this turn. Let's see how this works. So, villain phase now. So obviously, 1 on here. He doesn't activate because this is instead done. So nothing happens. The counter card is Reactor Overload. So Grass Icon, 3 threats. I can either, when revealed, choose to take 2 damage or place 2 threats here. I'm going to take 2 damage down to 5 is fine. And just put 3 on there. So my go now. So what I'm going to do is, I can't do that just yet, so I'm going to, let's see, exhaust this to play Wide Stance again. And then draw 2 cards for ability. 1, 2. Or my another, Brains of Brawn. Okay, what we're going to do next is we're going to flip her over. Now Gamora attack before doing anything else. Down to 5. And then we need to play some of our cards. So I'm going to do just a couple. So I'm going to play Brains of Brawn, First Aid, and Intimidation. Because I've done that, I'm going to move 1 threat of the main scheme. That's 3. I'm going to pay 3 of this, resolve 3 technical upgrades I control in any order. So let's pick. I'm going to do this one here, move 3 threat from the scheme. That's that gone. I'm going to this one here, stun the enemy. I'm going to do this one here, deal 4 damage to an enemy, down to 1. Fantastic. I can even do it again if I wish, but I might do that again actually. No, I'm going to wait till next turn. I'm going to attack with Nebula to get past that stage on stage 2. So I've got a discard card, so I'll get a spell card and put it into my play area. As part of the forced effect unrevealed. Come on, where's the nasty spells? There we go, another one of these. Discard card from my hand. Okay. It doesn't trigger the surge ability because it's discarded then put into play, not actually drawn from the deck. He's up to 18 hit points now. Now I might as well play this again because these are going to be discarded next turn. Because when my turn starts, I just resolve all these and discard them all. So I might as well make most of them while I can. So I'm going to pay 2 and choose this. I'm going to use 2 again. So I'm going to use this one here, deal 4 damage to an enemy. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm also going to confuse the enemy as well, just to help out. That's end of my go now, so ready up, ready up. So next to these are all going to go, unfortunately. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, we've got 2 more techniques. Piercing Overkill, +1 thought, +1 attack, and Stalwart, would have been handy earlier. Nowhere, pretty pointless this late in the game, but I do have Daughter of Thanos out, so if I can keep Gamora alive, I'll draw 3 cards at the price of 1. And the first day might be handy actually, because I'm going to die. Well, I'm on 5 health, so it could be quite handy. So, step 1 of Villain Phase 1 on here. Yet again, he is stunned, nothing happens. Draw a card. Oh. Right, so this is my Inferiority Complex obligation card. Obviously, like always, exhaust alter ego and remove from the game and exhaust my character, or choosing this card to technically upgrade some play. I could do that really, get rid of these 2 maybe, because these aren't that useful just yet. I'm going to do that. I want to stay in hero form and trigger all these, so I'm going to discard these 2. It's fine, I don't mind looking at the counter deck, I should be okay so far. Okay, onto my go now, so these all resolve, so 3 effect from the scheme. And gone, unfortunately. This goes, stun an enemy. This goes, 4 to an enemy. So down to 10. Still going strong, still a good turn. So what can I do? Obviously, I've got to play that Daughter of Thanos card, so I'm going to exhaust that to play Daughter of Thanos. Draw 3 cards. 1, 2, 3. Ooh, 1 card left. I've got some techniques I can resolve here. So the 4 damage one there I can resolve, the tough status card one there. Effect from the scheme is pretty pointless. We're going to play Justice Served for Weapons Master, Retaliate 1, special 4 damage. We're going to play Nowhere for Unyielding Presence, on hero form, +1 thought, +1 attack, and Stalwart. And then we're also going to, we could resolve them, because we're going to go through anyway, so we're going to resolve these. We're going to pay both of these and Lethal Intent to choose 2 upgrades I control and resolve their special abilities. Resolve this one, 4 to an enemy, down to 6, and this one, give Nebula a tough status card, and have her attack down to 4, ready up. So I've got another counter card now, which might hinder me a little bit, so 1, let's draw some more cards. So this should be endgame for Ebony Moore. I think Nebula is very, very good out the box. In fact, this might be one of the best recon decks I've played. I'm going to have to play this again against someone tougher like Thanos or someone in expert mode or something, so this works out. But so far, it's pretty good. So, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Lethal Intent, Strength. Another technique is a Brawn. Not useful, but it should be okay. Okay, so on to their turn now. So, step 1, 1 threat on here. He activates, if he doesn't, because Stunned replaces that instead. First counter card is Surge, 3 counters. Last one is removed, Exhaust, each upgrade, and I'm stunned. So, Shadows of the Past, oh, no. Oh no, Gamora's gone. No. So this puts Gamora into play, so she's Elite Outlaw Minion, 6 health, 2 fort, 2 attack. Discard Gamora from play. No, I should have attacked Gamora, used while I could. After attack damages you, choose to discard upgrade your control, so if she attacks me, an upgrade will go. And also we have self-preservation here. Nebula gets -1 thought, attack, and defense. But Gamora gets +1 attack and attacks gain piercing. So that's pretty irritating. If I get Gamora out, it helps me out, but it makes her stronger. And we'll shuffle these other cards into the deck. There we go. And I also have one more card because that had Surge, don't forget. Caught off guard. Discard upgrade or support I control. I will discard this one because I've already got tough status cards, so it's pointless. There we go. On to my turn now. And 4 damage to an enemy. Yep, that's that gone. That's Ebony Moore defeated. If that didn't happen though, I could have played Razor Brawn, Basic Thought, attack again, play Lethal Intent, resolve that one again, maybe, and I've also got First Aid here, so although I did have quite a lot out in front of me, he was on the ropes, and I could have just recovered in Alter Ego form and saved time. So that's it for this playthrough of Nebula Precon versus Ebony Moore. So, fantastic deck, excellent deck to play with. Very good precon. I like the Justice build, I like techniques. I'm going to like Lethal Space deck and maybe an aggression, or I actually think maybe protection would work well this deck. Keeping her strong, keeping her stats up and her health up, because her health is quite low, so that's one of her weak points, her low health. And the fact that I did have a lot of momentum, but I did draw Lethal Intent quite a few times. Because once them cards all go, the techniques all go, you do sort of slow down a little bit and lose that momentum again. And that's it for this playthrough. Any comments or questions about this gameplay, let me down below in the comment section. Like and subscribe if you can, and thank you for watching.